morning, everyone. Today is June 10th, 2021, and we are here for a work session. As always, we're going to start with the pledge. Ken, can you please take the lead?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ken. We have a busy agenda today, so we're just going to make a couple of quick announcements, and then we're going to get right into our first discussion. As a reminder, this Saturday, June 12th, is the PAL Bike Rodeo taking place at Stotsky Park, 55 Columbus Avenue. Registration is from 8:30 and it is free. I believe 8:30 to 11. It is free and will take place on the day of the actual event. COVID protocols and social distancing protocols are required, and we look forward to seeing you at this great family event here in Riverhead. Also taking place this Saturday is the next anti-litter cleanup event. Catherine, did you want to share more on this?
Well, we're very excited to have another litter pickup this Saturday. We actually had 230 volunteers last time.
Definitely.
And you can pick up your supplies tomorrow morning here at Town Hall or at the shops at East Wines by Nature. And then we will meet here Saturday morning, and hopefully we get a lot of volunteers and keep our town beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. All right, great. Thank you, Catherine. All right, moving on to our first discussion item. It's concerning an EPCAL presentation, and I would like to invite Chris Kent to come forward and your team.
Chris, you want to introduce everyone for us?
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
just
sorry.
about to. Nate Gamazine, and we have Justin Gamazine along with Frank Eisler. Did you want to come up forward to the table? Before we begin, I want to thank Mr. Kent and the Jamazians for being here today. They are here on their own volition. Frank Eisler will have a couple of opening remarks.
Good morning, Supervisor, member of the board, members of the board.
Voice?
Voice louder, okay. My name is Frank Eisler. As you know, I'm special counsel to the town on the contract we have with CAT, Calverton Aviation Technology. At the request of the board, the attorney for CAT was invited to come to a work session of yours to provide the board with an update as to where the financial status of the project is. They have voluntarily agreed to come today to make that presentation to you, and that's the purpose of this session. So with that said, I would turn this over to Mr. Kent.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Supervisor and members of the board. First of all, I want to say I came in with a mask on, but I was told if I was vaccinated, I could remove it, so I removed my mask. Both my clients have also been vaccinated, so they have removed their masks. So at the town board's request, Nader Gamazine and Justin Gamazine, Nader, who's the chairman of 555 Worldwide, and Justin Gamazine, who's a principal of 555 Real Estate One, the managing member of Calverton Aviation and Technology, are here to provide the board with some documents and other further assurances of the purchaser's intent and financial ability to purchase and complete the development of the property at EPCAL as required by the agreement of sale dated November 19th, 2018. It is our hope that our appearance before the board today will make you feel comfortable and will be received as further confirmation of CAT's continuing commitment to the reuse and revitalization of EPCAL, the financial ability and expertise of 555 as managing member of CAT, to close upon the purchase of the property and perform all of its obligations under the purchase agreement. To date, CAT has diligently performed all of its obligations within the times specified in the agreement and continue to be ready, willing, and able to perform all of the remaining obligations not yet performed. So those obligations would be, of course, closing, making all the deliverables that are due at closing, and moving forward with the development of the property pursuant to the intended development plan and as required by the town zoning under the Planned Development District and the Urban Renewal Update, the revitalization and reuse plan. CAT understands and covenants and agrees that the property is being sold by the town for redevelopment as a proposed urban renewal project that is consistent with the town's goals and objectives as set forth in the amended Town of Riverhead Reuse and Revitalization Plan for Enterprise Park at Calverton. CAT further understands that as an urban renewal agency, the town is selling the property for a public purpose. And as a designated qualified and eligible sponsor and your development partner of EPCAL, CAT will develop the property as permitted under the Town of Riverhead Plan development zoning and substantially consistent with the intended development plan attached to the agreement. That is a representation that was made in the agreement, and that representation is reiterated today, restated and confirmed. CAT is ready, willing, and able to close upon the purchase of the property and initiate all of its applications to redevelop the site, including substantial investment in all required on-site infrastructure improvements. CAT, I have today letters that I'd like to hand up to the board. I will hand it up and then I'll explain the letter.
Mr. Kent, can we get a copy for the media and Devin, can it be put up on our website, please?
Okay, I'll make those statements to you as soon as I sit back at the table, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
I think that's already, that's what you gave us.
yeah, you can copy.
It's already on
Yeah, I
the.
was gonna.
Oh, it's already on the website? And can you make copies for them?
Okay, I have copies with me for the press and for anybody else who'd like a copy of the letter. I provided a copy of that, an original of that letter to your town council. I provided it to your office for posting on the website. And I've provided it to Dawn Thomas, the Director of Community Development.
Yes, I
I've
do
also
have
provided it,
the office copy.
I've also provided it to Bill Rothar, your financial officer for the town.
Perfect.
Okay, so that he can review it. So this letter demonstrates, it's a letter from Grant Thornton, who is the CPA and auditor for 555. They're an international accounting firm, one of the top accounting firms in the world. And they are providing you a letter demonstrating that the funds are available to pay the balance of the purchase price, $39 million, which is due at closing. The $798,500 that is due under the town's Community Preservation Fund. I believe that's either the highest or one of the highest ever paid to the town of Riverhead. I think it's gonna be a substantial deposit that you can make into your fund and hopefully pay down some of the debt that was incurred to purchase and preserve farmland and open space throughout the town. We're also gonna be making the payment of $160,000 for transfer tax, usually paid by the seller at closing, but in this instance, since the seller is a municipality, the purchaser is paying the $160,000 of transfer tax due. At the closing, we will execute the completion guarantee for the infrastructure work required on the runways. That work to be completed within the first 2 years. And we will post the $1 million surety required by the town to guarantee that infrastructure work gets completed. The letter from Grant Thornton provides assurances, if you take a look at it, that there is an excess of $40 million on account earmarked for the acquisition of the property. Again, Grant Thornton is one of the largest accounting firms in the world. They are putting their name on this letter and signing it and stating that there are in excess of $40 million available in 555's account, earmarked for the acquisition of the property at Calverton. CAT has also secured a letter from a well-known and highly regarded commercial lender with offices on Long Island that will provide they will provide a construction loan of up to $120 million for the development of the first phase of the proposed urban renewal project. The commitment in the contract for the first phase is 1 million square feet to be constructed within the first 5 years after gaining approvals for their site plan. And upon completion of construction, that same bank will provide permanent commercial financing of at least that amount 120 million, on terms that have been agreed to by the purchaser. I provided this, an executed letter to that effect to your counsel, Frank Eisler, based upon a confidentiality condition that was imposed by the bank. This finance letter cannot be released to the town, but was provided to Frank for review and must be held in escrow by him and may not be shared with any other party at this time by direction of the bank. I believe your counsel can attest to my representations as to the existence of this letter and the contents.
I have reviewed that letter, and what Chris has reported is consistent with what I read in the letter.
And Frank, in your opinion, is this a common, action?
Yes, this is where we're dealing with highly confidential information of a financial nature and what could impact on the ability of the lender, to get the work done and issue the loan. We've done it before representing the town, my firm and I have done this before. I have to protect the document's confidentiality because it was given to me in escrow. As an attorney, I cannot release it. But we do make representations from time to time based on confidential information to the town board that the representations being made by the applicant, whoever that might be, are either consistent or inconsistent with what I've been shown. And what I've been shown is consistent with what Mr. Kent has just reported to you.
Okay.
There are a couple of factors that I want to give to the town board of why this letter would be requested, why the bank would request to keep this confidential. First, the closing is not imminent. The closing is sometime in the future. It is unknown exactly the date of the closing. Of course, we're ready to close, and we'd like to move to closing as quickly as possible. I believe the town would like that also. So they do not want that information released. Secondly, they want to prevent the information in the letter to be seen by other lenders who might try to offer
Counter offer.
yeah, they try to offer CAT better financial terms for borrowing. So again, the bank would not want their offer to be put out to the public or to other lenders who might use that to create a better offer. Now it's still incumbent upon 555, if they can make a better financial arrangement, they could seek to do that. But they have signed this letter. The letter's signed by the bank and countersigned by Justin Gramazian on behalf of 555 Real Estate One, managing member of Calverton Aviation and Technology, that they accept the terms of the letter. And that, like I said, that fully executed letter was provided to your counsel.
So in essence, the letter was vetted.
The letter was vetted, and counsel, it says that what I'm representing to you today is consistent with
Vetted.
what's contained in the letter, yes. In addition to the revenues received by the town at closing, the property will also return to the town tax roll and provide a substantial annual payment for the town and the school district. In addition to the tax revenue, the town of Riverhead will become the home of several large national and international companies that will establish a corporate presence in the town of Riverhead. They will create desirable jobs and provide an economic multiplier effect by investment, employment, and spending power that will come to the town of Riverhead by the development here at Calverton. CAT is proud to have been designated as the qualified and eligible sponsor for the development of the available property at EPCAL, and is excited by the tremendous assets that the property has to offer. I could go through them if you'd like, but you know there's 2 runways that could be utilized as accessory to the proposed development. There's an existing industrial core of businesses there that provide a great foundation for the overall development of the project. There are recreational facilities on site that will be further enhanced by this development project. The existing railroad spur that provides provides the opportunity to develop a rail depot that's in the proposed plans that will serve both the existing industrial park and the proposed CAT campus to receive materials and ship product out by rail. And we hope someday, in the not too distant future, this will allow employees and visitors to the site to commute by rail rather than increasing traffic congestion in the region. In addition to the economic opportunities, CAT is committed to the preservation and protection of 1,050 acres of critical natural resource areas and habitat that exist on the property. The Habitat Protection Plan provides for greater protection of areas of concern, grasslands, and contiguous woodlands than proposed prior, and then greater protection than what was provided in the adopted FGEIS for the redevelopment of EPCAL. The plan also provides 2 ecological observation points on the property that would allow visitors and clubs to view both woodland and grassland species. I mean, I could go on, or maybe I just open it up to questions. I have, 13 pages. I would rather just have a dialogue than me to go on. I think I've told you everything you want to hear. Maybe I could, well, I'll leave this for closing. I have a little closing that I'll do after. So
Well,
maybe we'll go to questions.
I know you mentioned things that we wanna hear, but those 1,050 acres has to be preserved forever.
Well,
And
we
that's gonna
have,
be done
first of all,
covenances and
you have an
reviews and us.
FGEIS. You have a GEIS that was adopted. If we vary at all from that GEIS, we'd have to reopen and do a supplemental environmental impact statement. And we do not want to do that. We want to develop this property as permitted, as designed, as approved by the findings and determinations made by the town under the GEIS.
We just want that, make sure we have that assurance forever.
By the way, also, one last thing, there will be an opportunity, I mean, we're hoping that what we're doing today, as your development partner, we believe that we can achieve these great things together. We want to need the town to support our efforts, and we are confident, given the opportunity, the time necessary for the town to complete its obligations under the contract, we will close upon the purchase of the property, and we will attract complementary companies so that the town's vision to redevelop the property can be achieved. We appreciate the town's continuing efforts to subdivide the property and view your efforts and the actions that you have taken to date as further assurance of the town's intent to proceed to closing. In furtherance of that intent to proceed to closing, we offer to the town today to release the $500,000 remaining in escrow to be used as the town may determine. We are ready, willing, and able to close upon the purchase of the property and proceed with the development of the property as proposed. We want to be able to benefit from the timing of the project under the current financial conditions, the ability to borrow money at very low interest rates, and the very active real estate market trends that are going on right now. There are numerous opportunities that are available that may be missed if there are further delays. As I know the town has a broker, as your broker may be able to attest, CAT has several companies and investors interested now in being part of the proposed development project at EPCAL. Low interest rates and economic incentives are currently available that make now the time to move forward with the development. And your broker can also advise you of how hot the industrial market is right now. So hopefully you talk to your broker about this. Timing is critical. We don't know how long this cycle will remain this positive and active, and we think the town and the developer should take advantage of that right now.
Okay, so that concludes your opening?
That concludes my opening.
All right, so, anyone on the board want to make a statement?
Well,
Any questions?
I have questions for sure. What is any interest, or what interest does Daniel Preston play in CAT today?
I can answer. Daniel Preston remains currently a 25% member of CAT. He's a non-voting member. He does not have any financial commitment to the development of the project. However, we expect and intend to utilize his connections and knowledge to attract development at the site. Companies that may be interested in doing similar things that he was interested in doing at the site. Yeah, no voting, I understand.
Right, nothing has changed then since his
Nothing has
original
changed.
involvement with, okay. Do you now, or have you ever, had any talks or interests of putting a casino on that property?
No.
No. I can attest that I've had several conversations with many parties interested in coming to the site. And I have never, in my 2 years of representing them, since February of 2019, I've never had one conversation with any Native American tribe on the development of a casino, or any other parties on the development of a casino. There have been no conversations whatsoever.
Glad to hear that. It's been reported that 555 has a $5 million debt load. The family's net worth went from $2.5 billion to about $650 million. How will this affect the purchase, but not only the purchase, the development of the property?
I don't know who gave you those information, they're all wrong.
They're reported, they're in print. Different publications have printed that
I
information.
could just say this,
Media.
555 has many, I don't know, 100 or less than 100?
Let me explain something. For those people that are not involved, maybe I should explain. 555 Group, which I'm a chairman, consists of over 100 companies and more. They're all single purpose entity. Means every asset is in separate company. We did that because situation like the COVID coming today and affecting some section of the economy, it doesn't affect the other ones. We have been doing this for the last 50 years. We are experienced. We don't put all of our eggs in one basket. What is happening in the situation in the economy today has nothing to do with this property. Each property by itself has its own financing, is in single company, and one company was not affect this one. That's what their business for the past 50 years. We have been very successful during the last 50 years, doing a lot of projects, developments, and today the shift is a little bit towards the internet and these kind of things, and we have developed other industrial projects before. We are in 75 different industries. We are one of the largest in the world. If you look at the brochure that I gave you, if you look at that page that you have, you'll see these are the divisions that we have. We are the largest, we are the owner of the largest private bank in Canada. We have put up billions of dollars. We are 100%. We are the owner of the, so I forget the name of my bank. Federal, what's the name?
Federal savings.
Huh?
Community type savings.
Community Federal Saving in New York, we own 100%. We are in oil business, we are in hotel business, we are in engineering business, we are in high-tech business. You can look at that. So,
You don't rob Peter to pay Paul from other accounts, and
no,
it's basically what you're saying.
I mean, this newspaper and paper, they pick up one company and they do that. No, we don't want to talk about ourselves, but
So the collapse, I'm not sure is the correct word, but the problems at the American Dream Mall won't affect,
Has
is what you're
nothing-
saying,
has
have
nothing
nothing to
to do
do with
No.
money that's needed to purchase or develop out EPCAL.
Well, we have shown with the letter from Grant Thornton that the $40 million, in excess of $40 million is available now for the purchase. We have a letter that a bank is going to lend us $120 million for construction of the first phase. So we have $160 million now. They're also willing to convert that construction loan financing to permanent commercial financing, which means they will, upon completion of construction, they will convert it over for probably something in excess of $120 million, because it'll be constructed at that point. Also, let me take it back a little bit. 555 actually did something when they got interested in this property. They were already aware. I mean, the change in retail didn't occur with COVID. It started prior to COVID. And their interest in this property to diversify their real estate portfolio to allow development of this airport, they were already seeing the trend of traditional retail converting over to distribution retail. And to do distribution retail, you need very large industrial buildings, warehouses. You might be familiar with what's going on Long Island with some of the companies that are doing this distribution retail. This has been happening, this has been a trend for many years, which meant traditional retail was declining and distribution retail was on the rise. So the decision to buy this property was a diversification of their portfolio that allowed for investment in distribution retail. Although we do believe their malls are gonna do quite well, because their mall is a percentage of entertainment and retail. What's the entertainment, 55% entertainment, 45% retail?
Yeah, it's around there.
Yeah,
Even
so
larger.
their mall is designed to attract people for the entertainment value of going to the mall, not just the retail value, which is also a trend.
Going to the mall is open, is operating, and is doing well. Don't look at this article that they wrote. In regard to the project that we have here, last time we mentioned some of the people that we want to bring to join to the property, and we gave some names, and the other competition of people, they start harassing them, calling them. I don't want to give the name, but here you have over 20 names of companies that we want to bring down anyway. They're all available.
Do you have letters of interest from them?
Some we have,
Some we do, but it's very difficult when you don't have a firm closing date. We don't even have, the town is not ready yet to meet its obligation. I'm telling you, as soon as the town can say, we have subdivision approval, we're ready to move forward to closing, we will be able to provide you a lot more information with firm commitments. It's very difficult in the real estate world to get a firm commitment from a bank, from a company that wants to
Sure.
locate, when you don't have a closing date.
Right.
We made a deposit, we entered into a contract, we made a deposit, just like as Nader, you wanna talk about it? Well, if we were buying your house, and we gave you a deposit, said we're gonna buy your house, and you said, okay, you signed the contract, and said, we'll let you know when we're gonna sell it to you, okay? That's kind of where we're at right now.
Right.
I'm trying to make it very
Understood.
simplistic, but that's exactly
Understood.
where we're at.
What we'll be doing down in here, we want to be part of the community, and we want to make sure that this project helps the younger generation in the community not to leave the town, stay here, build a community. As a matter of fact, I was talking to find maybe I'll buy a second house in here, because this project is very big, and we want to make it a second Silicon Valley of the East Coast. The property is big enough, and we are experienced enough that we can do it. And we want to do it. We want to be part of the community, as mentioned. We want to work together. We want to be part of you. We want to be part of the town. This project will create thousands of local jobs, high-paying jobs. We want to make it, when I say Silicon Valley, I want you to know that we want to create something that's going to pay high salaries. It's going to be, the jobs that are going to be created is going to be in transportation, in energy, in environment, in education and training, in technology, and in aviation. Most of these things that I mentioned, we have a division of. So if there's one person, one company can do that, I don't think you can see a second company like us in North America. So we are so diversified all over. And we are international. If we need something internationally, we can bring it right away. So accept us as part of your town. We want to be here. We love you all. We want to be with you. We want to work with you. And we want to be here with you. Thank you.
What
Will
is
you
it-
be-
I'm sorry.
One more question,
Yeah.
and I don't want to hog everybody's
Okay.
time. Will you be considering using IDA benefits, and would you commit, if you are, would you commit to using the Riverhead IDA?
Yes, the way Riverhead IDA structures packages, you pay full taxes on the land, and you receive an abatement and you receive incentives and abatement to build your improvements. So in this case, we would be taking we would be seeking benefits for mortgage tax exemption on the amount of construction financing that we're seeking. So that would be an abatement really that it does impact the town, but very, very minor. Most of that goes to the state and the county. There is some that comes back to the local municipality. So we'd be seeking mortgage tax abatement, meaning it's actually not a full abatement, it's an abatement, it's not an exemption. You still pay the MTA portion of the mortgage tax. Hate to take you into the weeds, but.
You can't get away from the MTA.
Right.
Yes.
So you pay the .30, the mortgage tax to the MTA, the .75 remaining, 0.75 of 1% remaining, it would be exempt. So we'd be seeking that. We'd be seeking sales tax exemption on the purchase of any materials for the construction of the project, which is standard idea. It's what they call uniform policy, okay? UTEP, Uniform Tax Exemption Policy, that has been adopted by the town IDA. And then we'd be seeking a real property tax abatement on the value of the improvements that would phase out over time as the project becomes more financially viable. So we start off with a tremendous amount of investment. We pay full land tax. We pay partial tax on the value of the improvements. We pay all of our special districts, sewer, water. And then over time, the abatement of the real property tax will diminish and the amount of the pilot will increase. So the town's going to be receiving a lot of revenue on property that they currently receive no revenue.
Correct.
And yes, we will use the Riverhead IDA.
Thank you.
Mr. Jamasian, what is your connection to Dubai?
To what?
Dubai, what's your connection? Do you have businesses in Dubai?
No.
So I have a couple of points I would like to make. I took some notes. I'd like, if it's okay, I'd like to go through everything and then,
Sure.
if you have things that you want to respond to. So I'm going to first of all say thank you for being here today. We appreciate very much that you came. I am sorry to hear that there have been some financial struggles that have happened, and certainly the mall business has been difficult over the last few years, and we all know that COVID has intensified that. But as a representative of Riverhead Town, the recent financial news about 555, which Tim did defer to, doesn't give us confidence. We have read in the newspapers that 555 is reporting losses of more than $64 million in revenue at the American Mall, Dream Mall. You were recently in default on a $1.6 billion loan held by JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, and failed to pay $16 million in property taxes, and a number of construction companies have filed liens against you totaling $41 million. The news we are hearing is disturbing, and that is why I felt it necessary for you to come in and update the board and provide some reassurance that you are able to develop CAT's vision, your vision for EPCAL. I was a little disappointed that we didn't receive documents in advance. I certainly would have reviewed them. As Chris, you referred to, this is an urban renewal project, therefore you were subject to a qualified and eligible hearing. You were deemed qualified and eligible based on the intended development plan that you presented. It's not a straight out land purchase, and I want to, and of course we wanted to confirm that you have the money needed to complete phase 1 based on that intended development plan. We have a construction summary that was done by Aurora that was, as you mentioned, $120 million. That's from August 8th, 2018. And this summary does not include items such as asphalt paving, landscaping, engineering, architectural costs, and attorney fees. So I would think that number would be higher. That was a couple of years ago when costs have gone up.
But with attorney's fees, I think it might be double that.
Maybe after today, triple.
I'm working on
We
it.
know the current estimate to complete phase 1 for this project will be more in the $200 million range. We have received documents in the past. We received a letter from Arnold Porter on April 12th, 2018. We have a letter from Liberty Mutual on July 31st, 2018. We did receive a previous letter from Grant Thornton, but you did give us that letter again today. In 2018, we were provided with letters of interest from Goldman Sachs, Mosaic Real Estate Investors, and SG Capital Partners. As a town board member, you can see the concerns I have. You were deemed qualified and eligible based on these financial commitments. We don't know if these earlier institutions are still willing to lend money. And on May 18, 2020, we also received a letter from a new financial group, Midnight Capital. I'm actually not sure if they are still even in business. So you can see my concern on relying on third-party letters of interest of companies for your group of companies to adequately finance this deal. And that's why I'm calling on the board to request and require access to these financial statements. This property is our greatest asset. We need to know that the development plan presented at the qualified and eligible hearing will be financed and completed. We received letters in the past, and having a letter that we cannot view is not satisfactory to me. We also need an update of CAT's operating agreement to make sure that all required partners remain in place. You did mention that you have companies coming, but I would like to see who those companies are. As was earlier mentioned, certainly our community is disturbed about the extra acreage, the 1,600 acres being sold. How much of these 1,600 acres will be preserved? And I'm sure you can understand that, actually, as a former councilman. How much the community values our open space and recreation area at EPCAL. I know in the past you stated that you were not willing to preserve those acres.
Never stated that, ever.
I thought in the past you had one time.
Never. First meeting we ever came here, the first meeting I attended, we set out our habitat protection plan, 1,050 acres. And I wish we'd put this behind us, because we're not gonna get any approvals from the DEC for our site plan unless we set aside 1,050 acres for habitat protection.
Okay, well, I'm
So
glad
we're
to
gonna
hear
put
that.
aside 1,050 acres. I just wanna make it clear, because things are being said that we've never committed to preserving land. Our very first meeting with the town was all about preservation of 1,050 acres.
Okay, but Mr. Ken, if I could just finish. And I am glad to hear that. So you can see, as elected officials and fiduciaries of the town, we need to do our due diligence. As representatives of the people of Riverhead, we need assurance that the funds to complete the project are in place and will remain in place. I believe we can all agree that as board members, we do not have the capacity to evaluate the current status of 555 and CAT's finances, especially in light of things we are reading in the newspapers. That is why we need 555's financial statements to be reviewed by a reputable outside accountant to assure the town that you have the money to purchase and complete the intended development plan. So I am asking my fellow board members to move forward requiring a review of the financial statements.
Okay, so let me go through a couple of things. First of all, we made a commitment under the agreement, and the town made a commitment under the agreement. We've lived up to all of our obligations under the agreement. We have met them all the times. We have done every obligation was completed on time as provided in the agreement. Those initial letters submitted, I didn't represent them at the time, but they were submitted in anticipation that the town was going to complete its obligations by May 20th of 2020. So we're now June 10th of 2021, and the town is still working on it, and we appreciate that you're working on it, and we believe you're making good faith efforts to complete your obligations. But you're not gonna hold lenders to commitment letters for 3 years. It's just not gonna happen. So the letters that were submitted in April of 2018 are no longer valid. Any bank will tell you, any accountant, any attorney, any broker, they will tell you that you're not gonna have a bank committing money for that period of time. Financial markets change, and we've gone through some incredible amount of changes since April of 2018. I think you can all attest to that. The world is different. What we have before you today is we have a very solid letter provided to your council that states that they are ready to move forward with the $120 million financing for Phase 1 development. Those other costs you're adding in, the additional 80 million, is for costs that would be for the entire project, not just for Phase 1. Phase 1 is 120 million. We will do whatever costs that are associated with landscaping and paving and all those other things would be in addition. Those would be either in future phases or be included in as part of Phase 1. As far as the runway infrastructure, we are committing to spend exactly what the amount provided in the agreement states. $1 million, first 2 years in infrastructure work and improvements. We're providing a completion guarantee and a letter of credit or some type of surety, an amount of $1 million as required by the agreement. Would be released upon the completion of the first $1 million spent for infrastructure improvements. Also in the agreement, and we are standing by it and restating it today, we will make all on-site infrastructure improvements required by our development. That's stated in the agreement. We are agreeing to that today. When the time comes and we come in with a site plan application, we will be back before this board because you will be the planning board for any proposed site improvements at a property that's located within an urban renewal area, just like you are in downtown, Railroad Avenue, EPCAL. Those are your 3 urban renewal areas in the town. You will be the decider on the site plans that we present. We will also need DEC permits and approvals for any construction on the site. And you can see how hard DEC is making it on the town. Don't think they're going to relax and make it easy on us, okay? I've dealt with the DEC for 35 years, and as Frank can attest, they're not easy to deal with. So when we come in with our site plan applications, we're going to have to go through the same things that you guys went through to get your subdivision approved. Although promised, the subdivision would be an easy application and approval without requiring any demonstration of some of the infrastructure connections that they're now requiring. So I think I know that we have lived up to our obligations. We have already had a full habitat protection plan prepared and presented to the DEC. They believed our plan was superior to the plan that was proposed under the FGEIS, and we're willing to move forward with that plan.
We are honoring the agreement that we have signed, and we have done everything and anything that the agreement requires of us at this time. By trying to put a monkey wrench in there and scaring these 20 talents that you caused us to lose before. And 20 years this land is sitting down there and nothing has happened. Enough is enough. We're working
just
like
looking to move
hell
forward.
to make this project happen.
We want to move forward with
And
closing.
we are honoring every point of your agreement.
Well, I fully understand in the finance world, especially when you're under contract, that there is always a shift. Companies flourish, others go on to a downslope. At the moment, we're not ready to close. I know you guys are. We're still achieving what the contract, the conditions of the contract, a contract that I didn't sign. I inherited. There's a lot of concerns. I will research some of the points that you made, and I understand the confidentiality component of it. I fully understand it. I see that it was vetted by our outside counsel, and I have to respect that. As a town supervisor, I can't sit up there and say, disregard confidentiality statements and information, and the public needs to know, because we're going to become liable, and I fully understand that. And
Worse
so,
than that, they will probably withdraw their commitment,
exactly.
and then who does that help? No one.
Exactly. So, we are going to make this decision as a board. Chris, I want to thank you. When I called you about 3 weeks ago, saying that if you guys can come in, I knew that it was totally voluntary, and you put the effort together. And the board is here. If there's any other questions. I would, please, this is the opportunity to do so.
I'd just like to say thank you for coming and being forthright with us, and explaining to us the financial changes through the years, and elaborating on how you plan to pay for the build-out. I think that that's really what we were looking for, is, just a little assurance that your plan is still able to be done. And frankly, I can't wait for you guys to start paying taxes in the town of Riverhead.
Actually, this project, when we built, it will reduce the taxes of every householder in this town.
Probably gonna decrease taxes in the town if it goes forward. And we're hoping to go down that route to use some of the funds, to decrease the taxes for our taxpayers.
You could
Is this
decrease the
land
taxes,
belongs
and you
to-
could also provide more for the community.
Exactly, and this
A
land
bit of both.
belongs to the entire town of Riverhead.
Right.
Not just a certain individual, or a certain group, or a certain member of the board who feels different. It belongs to the entire town of Riverhead is gonna benefit if we go down that route. As a real estate agent, I know that, some of the stuff that was presented to us today is in line with purchases, confidentiality, and I fully understand it. When we do get closer to, closing, then I'm gonna have to hunker down. And I understand things are gonna shift a little bit. Right now, this is just an update. It could be a year from now, it could be 2 years from now.
We don't wanna hear that.
So, and I fully understand.
Neither
and
do we.
We're gonna vet you a lot more intensely then. I know we can't do it now.
Can I answer one last question, because there was one other point that was made, and I want to clarify. Our project is going to include some recreational facilities within our
Okay.
project. The existing recreational facilities that are owned by the town are not on our property. That property is not being conveyed to us, so those recreational facilities will remain in town ownership. And, these guys want to be part of the community, maybe we can get them to fund the lights on the ball fields.
Yes, we should
That I
put
wanted to
somebody-
be put up back in 2008, 2007, since my team used to play there.
Accepted.
Okay, so, that's the kind of thing that, as members of the community coming in, they want to be philanthropic, they want to give money back to the community, they want to make investment in the community, because any investment they make in the community, they know will come back to them. And by having these types of other companies coming to town, corporate presence, many corporations look to invest in the towns where they are located. So you'll start getting a lot of charitable donations from many corporations who are residents at the corporate park.
So those lights will also light up the new restrooms that you're building as well to the town?
Well, if we can connect them to the sewer. That was always the question, will the sewer line be run all the way out to the park? I had a lot of hand in creating that park back in 2004, 2005. But the idea was, the health department gave approval for temporary bathrooms until such time as the property in between is developed and the sewer lines are run to the park.
Yep.
So I think the time has come that the town should probably run those sewer lines at our expense.
Okay. I have two simple questions. One is, you say investment cash on hands, and so in terms of the economy today, is this, when you're saying cash on hands, is it referring to stock investment bonds, things like that, or is this literally money set aside, checking account, savings account, non-invested funds? So in other words, what is the status of, based on the market on these funds between 2 months, 6 months, a year from now? Are you relying specifically, are they invested and allocated towards other assets? Can they change, or is this cash in a savings account waiting for purchase?
I think he's asking if it's liquid money.
Yeah.
As-
Yeah, liquid and available.
It is liquid and available.
It is liquid and available right now, and as you're accurately stating,
Yeah.
things could change.
Yeah.
So we'd like to move forward as quickly as possible. There's just so many economic opportunities right now in the market. Borrowing money is very easy these days, if you've got a good project and you're a good borrower. I can't say that these funds that are being borrowed will be guaranteed by the Gramasians, so that it's important that we move forward as quickly as possible. We understand the town, what's holding us up is not the town's, completely within the town's control, but we'd like you to continue to make diligent, good faith efforts to complete the subdivision and sell us the property.
That leads to my second question, was that I know that the town, and we're working on trying to get relief from the Wildlife Scenic Games to get the subdivision approved.
do you have any suggestions, or anything that you feel, because someone else had told me that you were ready to close and that we didn't need to wait for the DEC, and that you were ready in action, but is there something in which you feel the town is not doing to adequately make this acquisition close as soon as possible?
I will talk to your counsel about that. I wouldn't make public statements about what I think the town should be doing. I'm being a private attorney representing an applicant. I'm not going to tell you how to do your jobs, but there are certain things that I think we could do to move this along. Secondly, on the Wild Scenic River permit, you may need one for your, you do need one for your subdivision. We may not need one for our development, because none of our development is proposed within the Wild Scenic River boundary. So we believe that once you get this subdivided, we're going to be able to move forward. None of our development is proposed in any wetland setbacks. We've already provided a letter to the town confirming that we have no intent of developing one of the lots that would be within a setback from a wetland. I think the DEC accepted that letter, Frank, if I'm not mistaken. Did they accept that letter, that our representation, that none of our development would be within the property that's within the setback of the wetland in the southeast corner?
I mean, you can't do it with or without a letter from them.
I know.
You're prohibited from doing that, and I won't comment on your position on the the Scenic Rivers Act, because Lot 6 and 7 are partially within that, so you might have to go and get permits from them.
Not if
even
we're
though
building it, yeah,
But even if your building isn't there, you may be able to get around it.
Yeah.
That's an issue that you can take up with the DEC.
we will. But we're going to be going through that same process that the town had to go through with the DEC. So the environment is going to be protected. We're not going to be making any applications to develop more land than what was approved to be developed under the FGEIS,
So,
which I believe is 593 acres.
so to your point that finances change, to me, it almost sounds like you're saying, let's hurry up and do this because we may not have the money at some later point. So
We'll be
that,
glad to come back to the board at a later point. I would say right now, the economy is turning in a positive direction. I believe that the financial situation for the company and for everybody who's in the marketplace will be getting better. And we'll be glad to provide further assurances when we get closer to closing. When we have a closing date, we'll be able to come in and provide you more assurances financially and developmentally. We can provide more
We
information
are
about companies.
very, very strong. My bank put billions of dollars to the people today, loaning to them for construction and development.
If I may just interpose, if it's permissible,
Yeah.
under the contract, as the supervisor indicated, there's a requirement that at the time of closing, that the board be presented with the assurances that you're asking for. And that's a requirement of the contract before the actual closing occurs.
And
so with all due respect, though, I was just finishing up what I was saying. Mr. Eisler, I know you looked at it, but you are an attorney. So I think it is our job to make sure our community, that we have the confidence and our community has the confidence that the finances are in place. And that's why, once again, I'm speaking to my council mates and asking that we hire a reputable outside accountant who will look at these, because there is this confidentiality
The confidential,
concern.
excuse me,
But have an outside accountant that looks at it, because I understand about the confidentiality.
the letter that he has is cash in the bank today. So, I make a statement, cash in the bank, in that letter.
No, the letter we gave him.
Ah,
was-
well, it-
No, that's not
not
true.
that.
What?
The letter we gave him was the financing
The
letter.
finance.
Which one?
The letter from the bank that's lending the money, which I'm not gonna say what the bank is.
Hafner.
Yeah, so just,
Definitely.
let me speak to the point.
I'm looking for some people. in
currently,
there.
we're under contract, and it's an agreement between two individuals, signed by attorneys, recognized by the courts. This is a binding contract, and I fully understand it as a real estate agent. We can't change terms of contracts, because we're gonna be liable. We have, Ms. Eisler has been working, Anne Marie, our deputy town attorney, has been working on this. And I fully understand, I wanna put us in a position where we're gonna be liable, making demands, paying for, an enhanced review of finances, and we close a year or two from now and start the process again. So I think, I know that the councilwoman is calling upon the council, the rest of the town board. we need to speak to council. I'm gonna put it up for executive session for us to go in the next, few weeks or so we can discuss this legally. At the moment, Mr. Kent, you're probably gonna get some more questions on our behalf, and I urge the entire board, if they have any questions, to run it through you. There is at the moment no reason to have to say we needed a forensic accountant and spend $40,000 when we have letters of confidentiality and of assurance from a bank, and we're not ready to close. It's a waste of money.
And even if we did it now, the finances could
It's gonna
change 6
change.
months from now, and now we're gonna spend another 40,000 in 6 months. It's not
Correct.
necessary.
And as we said, those assurances will be made prior to closing.
Yes.
Well, certainly it's my opinion that that would be money well spent. This is, once again, I'll say this is our greatest asset, and we should be doing everything we can to protect it.
I don't think you're ready to do anything with it yet. So when
We
you're
know
ready
we're
to do
not.
something with it, I think you should make the decision at that time.
And it is.
Right now, you're not ready to do anything with this property.
It is one of our greatest assets. I think our greatest is the Peconic River, but it is one of our greatest assets, and we as a town board are gonna protect it. And the public should be assured that this is where we stand, and we're gonna move forward to make sure, when we get ready to closing, that we are aggressive, vigilant, and we ensure that this is the right decision for all of Riverhead.
Chris, I'm sure you're aware of the lawsuit regarding the provision of water to the property that has been filed. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel that is, or how do your purchasers feel about that in terms of us trying to get this moved along and get permission from the DEC to subdivide this property?
Well, we prefer to work with Riverhead Water District, because that's been the historic provider of water to the property. For all of the other developments that have occurred there, the Riverhead Water District has provided the property, has been approved to provide the water for the property. Riverhead Water District provided a water availability letter to the county health department, which was accepted by the county health department. They currently provide water to one of the buildings that's owned by the state of New York, the water district does. But as applicants, we will work with whoever is determined to be the water provider for the property. And if it has to be that we have to work with the Suffolk County Water Authority, we will do that. But we hope that it's the Riverhead Water District that gets approved.
As do we, yes.
Don't forget that.
I-
It's on tape.
People might tell you I don't forget anything.
Yep, we don't want to, we don't want Suffolk County water taking over us. We've been in
No,
a
yeah.
battle.
I've been in that battle, by
And
the
we're
way,
gonna
on
continue
behalf
the
of the
battle.
town. I was engaged in that battle in the late
They've been trying to
90s.
take over the district for many years, every
Yeah.
supervisor. Although, in the past, some have declined that it wasn't the case, but, denied it, but we know that, I know that very well.
Can I say one last thing?
Sure.
Frank Eisler is a very independent counsel to the town. And he's very well respected by lawyers throughout the county and Long Island. And I think he's well respected by the courts, and he's well respected by DEC counsel. So you have an independent professional reviewing what we're presenting. And I don't think it takes the retention of an independent accountant to read a letter the 3-page letter that I provided him and make a determination. And I think he can advise the town board well, independently.
Well, thank you for coming, guys. Really
Well,
appreciate it.
thank you, we know we have a lot of work ahead of us, and again, the entire,
Thank you.
community, will be protected. And thank you guys for coming.
Supervisor,
Yes,
I'd like to address the board with regard to the DEC and Suffolk County.
you are who, sir?
Former Congressman George Hopkins.
Sir, Devin?
That gave the EPCAL.
Oh, well, so 1 second, this is a work session, okay? And this is, you're not on the agenda, this is for the board to discuss, bring in certain individuals. And if someone wants to come before the board, you're more than welcome, but we need to discuss this, the board has to be aware of it. And we're gonna leave it at this.
I sent an email
About-
to each member of the board several months ago.
Yes.
And have not gotten a response
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This gentleman can speak at the next town board meeting. Sir, if you want to attend the next town board meeting on Tuesday, you can make any comments at that time. A work session is not an open forum for the public to make comments. You can certainly attend in person as
Take care.
on a
Thanks, Frank.
spectator basis, but you can't participate in the dialogue. Not at work session, sir. That's not the policy of this town board.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, thank you, everyone. Is the police chief here? Hagamula?
Yep.
Okay, next we're gonna have our police chief, Hagamula, come forward to present the May crime report. Chief, can you please come forward? Oh, okay.
Good morning.
Okay,
Good
we're
morning,
skipping,
Chief.
we're gonna skip down because I know you're here and you have to run out. So we're gonna take you next and then we're gonna go on to the accounting matters.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone has the May monthly report
Yes.
We
in
do.
an email. I think it's just as expected, so everything's up except for domestic incidents, which are down. You like that, right?
Which is good.
We called that with everybody being cooped up together, that they would go up, and now that everybody's allowed back out of the house, they would go down.
Outside without a mask. So,
Absence makes the heart grow fonder, is there any truth to that, or?
Oh, how romantic.
So while the chief is here, I did want to say that I thought that you did it was very nice the other night, the Synergy event, where you answered questions with Jim Banks. I thought that went very well. I think it was well received, and I look forward to, we're going to have another one, correct?
October, yes.
Right.
Yes, I was very happy with it too. The only thing I would say, it'd be nice if it was in person, so hopefully the next time it will be.
Yes, agreed.
All right, chief,
So-
accidents are up,
Accidents are up.
People
Motor
are
vehicle
back out
accidents, Yes.
they're driving.
Everybody's out driving.
People are so excited to be out and about, they're
Everyone's
probably driving
excited
crazy.
to be out. Yeah, so our numbers are definitely taking COVID out of the picture, rebounding. We've compared them to 2019 numbers, and they're even a little higher than 2019 numbers. But there's one thing that I can point out, and a big increase is in identity theft crimes reports. So that has increased greatly since before COVID.
Yeah, apparently somebody using my name has applied for unemployment benefits
Mine
along
too.
with many other people.
In Kentucky.
Chief.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
yeah,
No, I'm just saying, I'm glad you picked
my wife also.
Yeah, now a lot of people within the town too, actually.
There's only one Tim Hubbard.
Thank God. Chief, there's, one thing you used to include was incidents of
Devin?
opioid use and
Yes,
or-
I have them.
where, just ballpark figure, are we about the
There's
same?
good news on that front. We actually haven't had any fatalities this year.
Oh,
So
good.
there have been overdoses, but no fatalities. So in May, there was 3 overdoses, but no fatalities.
Narcan use, do you know?
Narcan, I think, was used, Tim.
You had it, okay, because I was following.
Yes, on all 3 cases.
That's good. Well, I mean, I appreciate that there's something out there to help this situation out for sure. And Narcan and our officers being trained in the use of it, along with the EMTs and many other people have saved many lives, so I appreciate that. If we could just get rid of the opioids altogether, we would be doing a much better job.
And we got the Narcan training through CAP.
Yes.
Yes.
Are they in every patrol car? What's the percentage that's carrying? Every patrol car?
Didn't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, good job so far, because I know during COVID, crime around us was going up in different municipalities across Suffolk County at an exponential rate, and just to see it just creeping back up, but nowhere like the last few years, so just doing something right.
Hopefully.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Okay.
Thanks for all your hard work, appreciate it.
Yes.
I just want to touch base maybe on, talk about the state of emergency.
Oh, yeah. Where do we stand with that?
Right,
Yeah, we
so-
wanna try to get away from it.
Right.
We have spoken about it. I think Brookhaven is, and I thank you, because we did speak, they were gonna, I think Brookhaven is breaking away on the 24th. You have to be
Southampton
careful.
has already canceled theirs, Southampton Town has already canceled theirs.
Yeah, so I think the next one,
We're in, so today, number 92 has to be signed, our 92nd state of emergency.
imagine that, every 5 days we had to create one.
Never had that happen before, so. Yes, every 5 days you have to renew the executive order in there. And really, the only one that's left in there right now is no day passes, no non-resident passes for beach permits. And that is something I think that we do want to continue throughout the year, so there's a couple of options here. We can continue running the SOEs every 5 days. My bet was that we wouldn't go over 100. If we do that, though, we will go over 100. The other way would be to change the town code and just delete that section for this year.
And that's the best route, because we should not be under an emergency order when everybody around us is not. And we're only keeping it just for day passes, and I know we discussed this. So I'm gonna ask the town board if you wanna move forward with it. We wanna
Yeah.
end our emergency order. Obviously, if the governor decides that, you know, tomorrow he's gonna do something with emergency order, we have to
Yeah, I was
comply
gonna
with
ask,
it.
how much does that depend on the governor's emergency right
It
now?
does not.
It does not at this
Yeah.
point, yeah,
We're a
okay,
home
good.
rule state, so it's totally up to the supervisor as far
Okay,
as
good.
the.
So hopefully we have the support of the board just to go forward with that.
Right.
All right, your
Certainly,
code?
certainly I'm in favor of opening things up. I'm glad that we have opened up Town Hall. It was very good to see people in here today, and I'm all in favor of that.
So we'll continue to, I've spoke to Bob already about this, so he's gonna prepare a resolution for a public hearing.
That's correct, and if the board's amenable, I can try and squeeze it on for next Tuesday.
Sure, I think we should move on it. And
Yeah, if
Chief,
you
as
can
you
get it
know,
done,
Town
Bob,
Hall
I'd
has always
appreciate
been
that.
open, correct? Okay.
The
So
state of emergency stays in place until the vote on the.
Correct, until we do that end of it, it'll stay
then
in
I could
place,
just
so.
issue another one and just, I
Yeah.
could even cancel it beforehand, or we just wait for the 5 days and then everything takes place. So, I think that's the best way to go, and I'm sure some of the community will be happy. The beaches, I drove around them, the Boy Scouts had an event, they were cleaning Reeves Beach over the weekend, and I was on all the beaches, and it was packed, it was crowded, highly used, and to see a lot of cars without permits on them, and that's something, that brings us, Chief, to the point, and we spoke about this, Tim, we are gonna start a beach committee, and I asked Tim to head it, to chair it, and he's agreed to chair the beach committee, and we think we have one member now, and you're gonna pick the rest of the
Yeah, I
members?
think, I know people I would like to ask, but if you're interested, reach out to me, contact me here at Town Hall, and, we'll try to put something together, and so we can work to make our beaches the best that they can be.
Yeah, and I think it's a greater effort because, you coming from law enforcement, knowing the beaches well, and you also our code, you're the liaison along with Councilman Rothwell to code enforcement. I think it's good. You're gonna get things done very quickly. You're gonna have the full input, and of course, everything has to go through, the chief, you'll be involved in that respect. So I think it's a good new town effort that and again, thank you for agreeing to do that. There's a scoutmaster, Mark what's his name, Alhert?
I don't want to butcher it.
I don't want to butcher his name either, but he
We
did.
all know who he is.
I did see him over the weekend when he was with the Boy Scouts, and he had placed interest, so I think that he'd be a good, and he lives at Reeves Beach.
Right.
So it's, have a resident, it's not somebody, who's there, so I think it'll be a good synergy, and again, I want to thank you.
Just wondering where you're gonna hold the meetings and if people are gonna sit in beach chairs.
There's a tiki hut in the plans, and,
Already? He ran with it already, huh?
Yeah.
Very good. All right, thank you, Chief.
Okay, so we're gonna continue with the SOEs until which time
Yes.
we have resolution.
yes.
Yes.
Okay,
And
Thanks,
he's gonna fast track the resolution.
Yes.
Okay.
thank you.
All right, next is a topic that I know is near and dear to all of our hearts. A memorial tribute for beloved teacher and community pillar, Kerry Stromsky. The entire Stromsky Kubetz family is has such a large presence here in our town. And Kerry's recent death left a huge void in so many lives across our entire community. Councilman Rothwell and Councilwoman Ken are now collaborating their efforts, and we're pleased to finalize today the details of a memorial bench and playground dedicated to Iron Pier Beach. It will be a beautiful area geared towards our children, one of which I have no doubt Kerry would have been so very proud. This is where she played, and this is where she watched children play. And Ken, did you want to, I know you're working on the bench components and why it went from wood to,
So we discussed a couple of different options. So we're talking about the playground down at the Iron Pier Beach. And so we are near the seawater and the salty air. And so there's a few different options, ranging from a granite bench to a composite bench, to simply like a steel and wood bench as well, and what will hold up best with the elements. I think we would like to incorporate a beautiful plaque with the bench, and whether it's on granite, whether we're going to carve it into the granite, or we're going to do like a bronze or memorial marker to be affixed to it, with a beautiful quote. In addition, a nice signage provided, for the park, naming it the Kerry Lynch Stromsky Memorial Playground. I think positioning the bench, on the south side of the park would allow someone to sit on the bench, looking right through the swing set out onto the water. I think that would be a beautiful tribute. I'm going to apologize. I have a packet for everyone with some different information, but it must be on my desk. And so in a moment, I'd like to hand out some stuff so everybody can kind of share and give us some input from the entire board, from everyone to participate.
and I know Catherine has placed interest in being part of the effort, and that's why we decided to bring it at work session, Catherine. So
Well,
that's-
actually, I have been working on it, and I'm very happy to collaborate with Ken on this topic. Carrie was a very dear friend of mine. I was blessed to have worked with her at Roanoke Avenue School, teaching together, and she was a dear friend. Certainly, she was very loved in our community, and we all know that she fought a very valiant battle with cancer. And Carrie was someone that truly loved our town and loved our school district. And she was certainly a real cheerleader for Riverhead. So it's really very fitting that we do something for Carrie. I'm very happy. I've been talking with the family about what they would like to see. Carrie's family had a home on Sound Shore Road. So, Pier Avenue Beach was very important to her. Also, I thought a playground would be a nice thing to dedicate to Carrie because she did work with young children and she was a very active person. So I thought it would be a great idea to have something that was an active space, especially for children. And I know that Carrie would really like that. So we are looking at there is going to be a new playground being brought to Pier Avenue. We're going to be replacing the current playground, and as Ken mentioned, I know Ken is working on a bench, and I have been working with Ray Coyne. I believe the playground will come in sometime this summer, so I am going to suggest that we get everything together, and when everything's in place, then we move forward with the dedication at that point when we have the playground and the bench and the plaque. And Ken and I will be looking at signs because there was a discussion. Certainly we want a nice sign, but there is a discussion about the corrosion that occurs down by the water, so we'll have that discussion. Anyway.
Something that will last for a long time, so
Right.
that.
We want something that will last forever.
Yep.
In her memory.
I
So-
thank both of you for doing this because the Stromsky, Wickland, and Kubetz family are huge public service people. And from Mr. Wickland being a police officer, I believe in Nassau County, his two sons and his one daughter being police officers, they're actively involved in the community, they love children. It's very fitting. Carrie was a very special person. I can't say I knew her well, but I did see some things that she wrote, and it was very dear to my heart, the way she went through her situation and how she handled it. And she certainly will be missed, and I think this is a great honor for the board and for Catherine and Ken to put this together.
Yeah, you know,
Very much
Tim, you
appreciated.
deferred to her writing, and what Carrie actually did was journal, write about her whole journey, which I think which really was a brave thing and so many can learn from. And, from someone who taught with Carrie, she was a fantastic teacher. I don't know, she always was like weeks ahead in all of her planning and her work, but at the same time, there was this whole side of her that was really funny and really fun, and that's why I'm excited that we're able to dedicate a fun spot to her.
Okay. So we're gonna move on to our last item, relating to parking on Central Avenue and on Oak Street. And Tim and Ken, I know you were instrumental in moving this effort forward, so where do we stand?
Well, we had been talking about this for some time with residents up there. We tried to do one thing earlier this year, and after rethinking it, we felt maybe we could address it better. The request is coming simply because there's out-of-towners parking on Central and Oak and Wading River, and then finding their access to the town beach because they don't have a permit to get in. But unfortunately, in doing so, they tend to litter up the area and create traffic problems and such. So the residents have asked us to address it, and I think the best way to do it is to make it both areas parking by permit only, but also with the addition of allowing a placard to be parked there. So let's say if you live on one of those streets and you want to park out in front of your house, you certainly can if you have a permit, but if you have guests come over from out of town, they couldn't ordinarily park there, you would be able to give them a placard to put on their car, hang possibly on their rearview mirror, and it would allow them to park there for the time being. This also helps them, and it's situations everybody has. If you want to have a few people over to your house and all of a sudden the parking's not there because people are using it to illegally use our beach because they're an out-of-town resident and they don't have the permit to do so, you should be able to have people come over to your house for a barbecue or for whatever the case may be, and you can't. So in this situation, you could, with the placards, you could have people come over. And we discussed earlier too, which was a good idea, Frank and Ken I spoke with about this, and they suggested that if, say you're having a larger gathering at your house, that you could possibly come down to the town clerk or the recreation department, we'll work that out, to get extra placards for the day, and then you would have to return those placards back. So this is the avenue we're looking to take. We want to make it happen quick because it is beach season, and they're already having troubles up there. So, Bob, we're going to have to put our minds together here and work out some kind of resolution to put up for this year, and then it will allow us the rest of the year till next year to put up something maybe more permanently and figure out a permanent way to address this.
So Tim, I'm glad you brought up the point to do it quickly, because I know that on Central Ave, I mean, we're already in the season.
Absolutely, especially with the weather of last week.
Right, and the weather of today. But probably other people, I received a lot of pictures from Central Avenue over the weekend, and already they're having problems with people parking up and down the street, and unfortunately, people who are using that as a parking area also throwing garbage everywhere and disrespecting the neighborhood. So I think it is very important that we move with this as quickly as possible.
I think we are in agreement to applying parking by permit to both roads. In other words, some residents on one street were figuring, well, it's not so bad here, but I think if you only do the parking on one road, you immediately create a bigger problem for the other road.
Yes.
And so where some thought it's not so bad on this street, but once you put you're gonna eliminate everybody, you're gonna move everybody from Oak to Central or Central to Oak, however you do it.
Right.
And I think
Musical chairs?
Yeah, and the placards I think is great. There are other towns and villages that do set up, so if you are holding, like Tim said, a larger fair, things like that, and allow them to do something. If there's a graduation party, you want people to come over, they can come to the town clerk, they can get, placard up for however many vehicles. And I think that addresses that, like, as a one-time privilege, something that can be printed out to be placed on, and even a code enforcement officer could see that on a vehicle and call in and confirm it, and just to be able to expedite to make it as simple as possible. to have those, additional one-day placards for particular events. But, yeah, then the homeowner takes their car, who has a beach permit perhaps, and moves it out to the street and opens up his driveway, has all the placards, and try to do everything we can to accommodate all the needs. So I think it's come together the right way.
Good.
Okay, so you're gonna work on this?
Yep.
Moving it forward? Do we need a resolution in this regard?
Yeah.
That's a
I have
possibility.
just a question, because I know I spoke with Ray Coyne, I don't know if Ray's here. He certainly feels that he can provide some kind of placards for the residents, so that in the case of Mr. Sakowitz and Mrs. Sakowitz, that, their sons can come and not have issues. Going forward, is the board of the mindset to establish a new parking by resident sort of ordinance? I looked at some jurisdictions. I found one in New Jersey. I haven't found anything specifically locally, although I think Patchogue, the village of Patchogue, has a parking by resident code. Is that
I know
something that
Port
the...
Jefferson does too.
Yeah, is that something that the board wants me to look into further and put some draft legislation to you at code revision so that we can start taking a look at that? in
Well, I think
anticipation
we
of
need
next
to
year?
get a resolution up ASAP to get something going now to help them out, and then I think we can look at this,
There's a
revisit it.
resolution that's in queue already to adopt the public hearing. So that I think just needs to, I think we tabled it, if I recall. So that can be brought off the table to be
You wanna
acted upon
untable it?
Yes, yeah.
and get that done now.
Right.
And I think as far as the interim, if the board's decision is to have the rec department have the authority to issue those placards, we can do that informally as a policy issue, as opposed to a codification. It's not the best way to do it, obviously, but it's a quick resolution
No, but it
for
will
now.
it'll get us through this season, and then it'll get us time to codify something for permanent use. And
That's
it'll
fine.
allow to see how this works.
Sounds good. All right,
Bob, are you
so,
talking about parking by residents on those two streets, or are you talking about in other areas?
well, I'm thinking about codifying it, so that would obviously be the start, but I anticipate that some other areas may want the same relief.
And that's actually what I'm
Possibly
thinking.
Reeves Park.
Yeah, Tim is saying, let's move forward on this right away, which I'm in agreement with, but we may end up finding out there are other areas that are looking for that as well.
I'm anticipating there might be some of that.
Me too.
This may be something to come up on our beach committee to
Exactly, it's
to address
well
and-
aligned.
Right.
It's all
So
well
we'll have
aligned.
good minds together and be able to work something out
Exactly, and,
for the long term.
Is it a resident parking code, Bob, or can you simply just add parking by either beach permit / or town placard? Or something like, how complicated?
Well,
is that?
I don't know how to,
And then
set forth the criteria for the issuance of the placard. So the reason I was saying parking by permit and maybe, then have that done through a placard system is that at least you still have a residential component to it. So the person who's the resident would establish their residency and then have a certain number of placards that house would be entitled to. That's a thought. Again, I have just started looking at some of the other jurisdictions' codes on this.
So if their house falls in an area where there is permit-required parking, then they can have the ability to obtain perhaps up to 2 placards for additional parking, something like that?
That's sort of the mindset, yes. As opposed to making it a townwide scenario.
okay. Any other comments? All right, so we're gonna move on, and we wanna thank everyone. It looks like it's gonna be a pretty decent weekend, and be safe, and want to remind you, we have the senior hotline. Please call the supervisor's office if you need any assistance, and we always have a great senior center. Everybody hails it as one of the best out in the east, and very active. And I think that's it for now.
We have resolutions.
We're gonna have Devin read the resolutions, and then we'll go into executive session. Devin, can you please read the resolutions?
Sure. Does everybody need a minute, or are we ready?
Yeah, just give me 1 minute, I wanna hold them up. Hold them out, actually. Oh, I have those. All right, everybody ready? We're good. Devin,
Okay,
please.
resolution number 1 ratifies the appointment of an intern to the police department. We realize that the start date was inadvertently omitted, but the start date was May 17th. We're gonna go ahead and add that.
Okay,
Number 2, Riverhead Sewer District budget adjustment. Number 3, appoints seasonal park attendants to the Recreation Department. Number 4, approves agreement between Town of Riverhead and Winship Media LLC, 2021 Jazz in the Vines, 8/21/21 and 8/28/21.
On this one, I see that I made a little bit of a typo, so I have one paragraph that repeats itself, so we'll take that out. I'll make that change.
Okay.
This is something that we've done in the past with Sam Kimball of Winship Media. Last year, it didn't happen because of COVID, but they're looking to do a little bit of a reduced schedule, only 2 events. In the past, they've done some up at Palmer, as well as at Jamesport Vineyards. This will only be at Jamesport Vineyards.
Ronnie does a great job over there.
Number 5, approves special event Chapter 255 application for Halleckville Museum Farm Country Fair. Number 6, amends Resolution 2019-296 and ratifies payment of increased fee to Cushman & Wakefield for trial-ready appraisal in certiorari by Loudis of Calverton LLC. Number 7, publication and posting of notice to amend CDBG 2019 budget. Number 8, parking lot improvements, round 16, capital project number 52107, budget adoption. Number 9, ratify the acceptance of a donation from Riverhead Building Supply for the anti-litter cleanup. Number 10, accepts the retirement of a detective. Number 11, ratifies and accepts the retirement of a police officer. Number 12, authorizes selling of the 2021 daily boat launch permit by Warren's Tackle Center. Number 13, adopts local law amending Chapter 217, Article 5 of the Riverhead Town Code. Number 14, adopts local law amending Chapter 211 of the Riverhead Town Code and authorizing issuance of town beach parking permits for hotels and motels. Number 15, ratifies the approval of fireworks permit application for Baiting Hollow Club Saturday, June 12, 2021. Number 16, approves fireworks permit application for Riverhead Bid Management Thursday, July 1, 2021. Number 18, appoints call-in recreation staff. Number 19, authorizes funding application to New York State for Consolidated Funding Application CFA 2021. Number 20, resolution authorizing nunc-pro-tunc legal action against the owners, tenants, occupants, and mortgagee of premises located at 228 Overlook Drive, Riverhead, New York. Number 21, appoints an electrical inspector. Number 22, approves execution of an indemnity agreement with Coastal Contracting Corp. As contractor under New York State DOT drainage improvement at Main Street, New York 25, at Suffolk Theater Project 0801.04 to allow for drainage upgrades and improvement on the Town of Riverhead property. Number 23, appoints a part-time account clerk. Number 24, authorizes town clerk to post and publish notice of public hearing for Chernoff Professional Office, 331 Main Road, Aquabog, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map numbers 600-85-3-8 and 600-85-3-12.7. Number 25, accepts the resignation of a part-time police officer. Number 26, appoints a minibus driver to the seniors program. Number 27, appoints a part-time maintenance mechanic 2 to the seniors programs. Number 28, amends Town Board Resolution 2021-201 to increase the adopted budget, ratifies authorization of the additional funds under the amended and increased budget of the foregoing made in connection with improvements to the parking district. Number 29, authorization to publish advertisement for a bid for New York State licensed commercial real estate broker, commercial real estate appraiser, and commercial real estate financing consultant regarding real property located
That's you, right?
565-605
Right?
Old Country Road, Riverhead, New York, 11901, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-109-1-19.006. Number 30, authorize the supervisor to execute a stipulation with Local 1000 AFSCME, AFL-CIO Riverhead Unit of the Suffolk Local 3852. Number 31, authorizes the supervisor to execute a contract agreement between the Town of Riverhead and Constance Monnet, Court Reporter Services. Number 32, authorizes the supervisor to execute a contract agreement between the Town of Riverhead and Wayne Galanti, Court Reporter Services. Number 33, authorizes town clerk to publish and post a notice for public hearing for a local law to consider amendments to Chapter 289 entitled Vehicles, Traffic, and Parking Regulations of the Riverhead Town Code, Forge Road, AKA Dam Road.
Thank you, Bob, for getting this in. This is on Forge Road. The New York State DEC, along with the town of Riverhead, years back, put in a canoe launching ramp. And they put it on it would be on the west side of Forge Road or Dam Road. And it was for access to the lake area up there. But unfortunately, there was no parking allowed in the area. So people went there with their canoes and dropped them off, but had nowhere to park their car. So we're allowing 5 parking spaces, because I know many years ago, when I was a young cop, that place was inundated with parking, and people were parking all over the place, and it created a problem. So that's why they put the no parking there. But since that has settled down over the years, and now they've put a ramp there, we're going to allow 5 parking spaces on the east side of Dam Road, where people can launch their canoe and then park their car. So this will make everybody happy up there.
Okay, number 34, extends bid for annual construction contract. Number 35, extends bid for annual procurement contract. Number 36, authorizes town clerk to publish and post a notice to bidders for bid for well and pump testing, evaluation, reporting, and information management. Number 37, awards RFP for audit services of the Community Preservation Fund for the town of Riverhead. Number 38, appoints a provisional senior water treatment plant operator type 2B. Number 39, appoints a provisional senior water treatment plant operator type 2B. Number 40, secret determination regarding application for Suffolk County Downtown Revitalization Funds, round 19. And 41, supports, endorses, and authorizes pursuit of Suffolk County Downtown Revitalization, round 19 funding. The copies that you guys may have of those, we had some issues loading that, so we may have to recirculate that to you, but certainly in time for the town board meeting, it'll be rectified. We had a little issue with getting that loaded. 42, approves increase in wastewater district superintendent salary. And number 43, approves increase in assistant wastewater district superintendent salary. And that's it.
So before we move into executive session, I'd like to ask the rest of the board, I actually would like to allow former Congressman George Hochbrecher to address the board. George Hochbrecher was actually the congressman that fought very hard for us to get the EPCAL property. So I didn't know if the board is in agreement. Maybe Diane could check and see if he's still in the building.
Well, before you see if he's still in the building.
If the rest of the board is in agreement?
Let's have the board, you made the motion to request that. We need to discuss this with the board. He came, this is a work session, and this is gonna stay as a work session. There is a process for anyone who wishes to come before the board to follow that process. I know that he wrote a letter, he was an advocate. At one time, he wanted a contract with the town, and there's been some discussion as to his exact purpose to do this, and I think we should keep this as a board, that this should be a work session, that people should just not come in, and people who you may favor, Catherine, just say, okay, let them in and let's talk. Let's just keep this as a work session. We can put them on next week. If the board agrees, we could talk about it, and I hope you support me.
Anyone
Well,
can come
I
into
just
public
think,
comment.
right, I just think that,
That's
I
what-
understand work sessions and we don't normally, on occasion though, we do bring people up here, and I think out of respect for his years of service as a congressman, and we actually wouldn't have the EPCAL property without him. I think if he's still here, it would be nice to allow him to address us. But that's up to the entire board, I guess, but that's my,
It is.
that's my recommendation. And frankly, I think we owe him an apology. He did, if you look back in history, he did work very hard to get the EPCAP property for us.
I completely agree with you. He really did, and honestly, he took the lead role back in the 90s, I guess, to make this happen, so we wouldn't have it sitting in our lap today if he hadn't done
That's
what
right.
he did. And helped with the securing of the 3,000 acres outside the fence to keep that forever preserved, and he worked very hard on it. So I know he is, it's kind of one of the things I think he wants to see come to fruition.
He does.
That he started many years ago. I have no problem hearing from him. I did recognize that he sent an email to us.
I did too.
And, read it and everything, so I know what he probably wants to talk about. I'm just not sure if you want to have him do it now, or if you want to have him come back at a board. I would not object to him if he's here to come up and address us quickly now. But if you want him, if the board wants to go with it as the normal comment period on a board meeting, I'm fine with that too.
I think we should do it during the normal comment, and I think I want to do a little bit more research.
Okay.
Because I know he has
Okay.
sent various letters. I don't have them in front
Yeah,
of me.
that's fine.
So it'll
That's
be,
fine.
here he is, and here, and I would like to, see how involved he was and all the efforts, and have a better, understanding of his purpose. And we're just talking about Tuesday.
I think-
Today's Thursday.
I think also sometimes things that are on the work session agenda, where people are focusing, he may have a louder voice, so to speak, during a town board meeting as opposed to a work session. So it may be a better avenue for him, to share his thoughts in a work session, in a town board meeting.
Yeah,
But-
it was just my concern that.
Yeah,
I
Diane's
felt he
saying that
was-
he's not
Yeah, I
here.
guess
I
he's
felt
not
he
here
was
anyway, so it's a moot
disrespected,
point.
and, I understand the points that are brought up, but, I do think there's a matter of respect for someone in his position.
There should always be a matter of respect. Has he contacted our office and let us know that he was gonna show up and make a statement to speak at a work session? Maybe we could have worked with him a little better. We're always gonna respect everyone. I don't think that we disrespected work sessions or to collaborate, to speak, go back and forth, and having people just appear to make a statement. But he's gonna get his opportunity. And had he called our office, we would have talked about it. So he just showed up and made the statement, and I understand your point, Catherine.
And Diane and Chip just confirmed that he's not
He's not
here.
here.
He's not
So,
here.
right, at the
So
present
we're
time.
gonna move on, and we'll see him on, a few days from now, at the next work session, we'll put him up. All right, thank you, everyone. Before we're gonna go on to executive session. I think we have a light calendar today. It's just on two personnel matters surrounding change of status in an employee that concerns Rothar, and matters surrounding the change of status of two employees. And, can I have, please, the first and a second to go, into executive session?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved, and everyone, please be safe, enjoy your weekend.